Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Busy Professionals. Today is February 24th, 2022, and our guest speaker is Charles Hadel. Charles, welcome to the group here. Can you give a little introduction to yourself, and we'll go right into your talk.
Yeah, Daniel, my fire alarm's going off right now, so maybe
all right,
maybe
we'll riff
the bio while it clears so I could go. Sorry about that. My wife's cooking upstairs and obviously not doing a good job.
All right, well, in the meantime then, let's open it up to any topics that people have. So if you have a question about real estate and you'd like the group to discuss it or talk about potential solutions or suggest ideas, let's open it up. Does anybody have any topics? Or potentially anything that they would like to talk about in the future? Guest speakers on particular topics. Feel free to unmute yourself.
Someone asked about the name of the Facebook group. I'll ping it in the chat. And the reason is there's another group with very similar names. You may join the wrong group.
Oh, is there really?
Yes.
I'm sure there probably is. Real Estate Investing for Busy Professionals is a long, if not somewhat normal title.
Okay, yeah, here you go, Matt. I think Charles is back. Yeah.
All right. No questions or topics from the group? What would you like to hear about in the upcoming weeks? Or what would you like us to do in the Facebook group we've actually been brainstorming ways of bringing up traffic in that Facebook group. What would you like us to do there in order to make it more interactive?
In terms of topics, I would love to hear about maybe retail strip centers or self-storage.
Okay. Yeah, I know some people I could reach out to for that.
I also have a topic, which is probably something you may have gone over in the past, but like what are the best services for long-term rental management? Okay.
That's a great topic. And I think, although I haven't heard Charles's talk, I know that some of the technology that he'll be talking about would probably help you with that. How's your alarm doing? All right, let's open it up then.
All right, yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
Going off, right? I go upstairs, just smoke all over the kitchen, so apologies for everyone.
All right. So Charles, you are the CEO and founder of ePropertyCare, a prop technology company based in Somersville, Massachusetts. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your company and what you do for investors?
Yeah, sure. So I guess I'll start with a little background. So I came from big tech as well. I spent 15 years at Texas Instruments and Analog Devices in the semiconductor world. And through various corporate relocations, I happened to kind of stumble into being a landlord with properties across multiple states. And I kind of got to a point, I'm like, you know what, there's got to be an easier way for me to manage these properties than paying someone to go and hand off a key or waiting for a tenant to tell me there's water pouring from the ceiling. I'm sure we all run into those scenarios. So a little over 4 years ago, I'm like, there's got to be nothing out there really met my needs as a small landlord. So I'm gonna build a platform to kind of focus on initially small landlords, but now we're kind of migrating into like large multifamily development and syndications and so forth. So ePropertyCare was founded initially, as I said, to target to provide technology enablement to small landlords to remotely manage rental properties. And as you'll see as we go through the presentation, I initially focused on a couple of like very important use cases for landlords. Access control. Can I rekey a lock remotely and eliminate keys altogether, so I don't have to pay someone to like hand off a key? Can I control the HVAC, both detecting issues before they become emergencies, and when a property goes vacant, can I set the heat or the AC to reasonable levels? And water protection. Can I detect a leak or shut off a water to prevent like a disaster in my property, or from me footing a huge water bill? A lot of my rentals, I have to pay for water, so the tenant has no incentive to conserve. So those were kind of some like major issues that I wanted to kind of address. So let me
What about for short-term rentals? Do any, you mentioned long-term, you mentioned multifamily, but it sounds like some of those would be applicable to short-term rentals as well. Do you focus on that business model at all?
I'd say, you know, there's a variant of the software that is very integrated in the short-term rental space. I'd say, you know, our company focus is more on like the long-term rentals, just because like for us, the economics of a 300 unit, you know, multifamily building are a lot better than 300 individual, you know, rental properties. But, you know, the platform scales from single family to, you know, high rise. And that's what's kind of attractive about it. So I use it to manage my like rentals in Chicago, Boston, Houston, other Dallas, other places. But we also have it deployed to like big buildings, you know, that have where landlords want to kind of more efficiently manage their properties like at scale and have a lot of integrations with, you know, Yardi, RealPage, you know, the major PMS systems. So yes, it does, but we don't really go after the short-term market right now.
One other piece of logistics here. When people have questions, do you want them just to unmute themselves and ask, or would you like us to store them up in the chat room and then ask them to you at a later time? How do you want to take questions?
Yeah, I'd say if you guys can monitor the chat and like flag, okay, there's a question here, you know, we could pause because I want to make it very interactive. Like, you know, ask questions, please. You know, I'm a tech guy at heart, but kind of did this to kind of solve my own problems. So I love to kind of help people understand the benefits of this technology and making your lives a little easier and making your tenants' lives better and saving a lot of stress. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. Can you see my screen? All right, so I'll jump in. So I'll give a quick intro to the smart building tech. Yeah, I'll talk about some system use cases. I'll talk about NOI, because at the end of the day, if this doesn't like save you money or make you more money, then don't do it. But I think the numbers speak for itself in terms of like what you could potentially do by having this tech implemented in some of your properties. I'll do a software demo, you know, to show you, hey, here's live properties that I can literally control from my computer here, like across the country. I'll flash up a couple of case studies and obviously have plenty of time for Q&A. But as if you have any questions, you pop it in the chat and Daniel or Matt could like jump in and let me know there's a critical mass. So first, a couple of like industry trends. You know, there's the demand for like smart homes and smart apartments is like greatly increasing. 30% of prospective tenants won't rent an apartment unless if they can't tour it. You know, so this whole idea of like unattended tours or self-guided tours is becoming like increasingly popular because it reduces leasing agent expense and allows prospective tenants to see a property like when they want to versus trying to schedule an appointment where you may lose them in that interim period. You know, 52% millennials want to access their homes with PIN codes or apps. So keys are kind of going, you know, are disappearing now to the benefit of all, by the way. And one other kind of interesting fact, 90% of all commercial real estate insurance claims involve water damage. So I'm thinking like multifamily here, you know, water damage is a huge problem for insurance companies and for tenants and for landlords. So it's a problem that I think we have a pretty unique solution for. And finally, the trends are against home ownership. You know, a lot of you know, younger people don't view owning a home as the American dream. Many are priced out of owning homes in a lot of these markets. These like, you know, Boston, San Francisco, San Jose, other places. And in the multifamily world, there is a move more towards like concierge hospitality. So people want more of an experience in the property, not just live, sleep, you know, eat, work, and go. They want to have it kind of do more for them. So those are some like underlying trends that we're seeing. But you know, I always ask, have any of these scenarios happened to you with your rentals? Have you had a water heater that burst or leaks? Have you had a call from the middle of the night from a locked out tenant? Have you had a running toilet that's not been reported and cost you like a huge water bill? And it's like, why didn't you tell me about this? You know, or you had frozen pipes because the tenant shut off heat to save energy. You know, I'm sure most of you have encountered one or more of these typical landlord problems. And I guess the key question is, how much time, money, and stress could you have saved if you knew about this problem like quickly and were able to take remote action versus waiting for the tenant to get around to telling you? Like those are kind of that's kind of the essence of what we're trying to solve for here. So smart home for landlords, you know, a lot of us have like Nest thermostats, smart home in our own personal like homes, but for landlords, one of the big challenges is the internet connectivity. You know, most landlords don't have a managed Wi-Fi network or a landlord supplied Wi-Fi network in the rental. So you kind of have the tenant's Wi-Fi or you have nothing. So that's a big problem. So I view this as using interconnected devices to protect, monitor, and control a property over a cellular connection. Because I think cellular is important here, especially in like the small landlord market, because typically Wi-Fi is not available. So that's kind of what our solution centers on. How do we do this over cellular so we can easily retrofit this technology into existing properties, as well as apply it into like new construction projects that could benefit from having that technology. So many of you might remember this last year, that big deep freeze in Texas. Hopefully none of you were impacted by this, but there was millions and millions of dollars of damage because pipes froze and burst due to a cold snap. You know, this is an example of the type of like havoc that could be wreaked by not having smart technology that could help protect and monitor your property. So in this case, in these cases, you know, pipes froze, they burst, and no one was able to shut off the water because, you know, no one was there at the property. The landlords were elsewhere or stuck because once there's ice in Dallas, the city shuts down. And I lived in Dallas, so I know this for a fact. So these are the types of things that you never want to have your property be featured in a slide like this. So this technology helps you prevent you from being this case study, so to speak. So smart building solutions aren't one size fits all. Every building's gonna have a slightly different need. And that's what's kind of nice about our platform. It's flexible and it's extensible. You know, one building might just need smart locks. Another building might need smart locks, thermostats, and water. Another building might need that and video or building access control. So our solution is kind of customizable to fit the need of your property or your development. And we utilize the alarm.com Point Central platform. So I didn't build this technology platform myself. We've just taken it and really applied it towards multifamily housing and landlord use cases. That's really where we specialize. And this is coming from a 15 plus years as a self-managing landlord with multiple rental properties across multiple states. So that's what kind of drove me to found the company and to focus on these problems, because I deeply understand them as one of you, so to speak. So we currently have customers in 27 states and counting. So the solution, you know, can go ship anywhere and can be installed anywhere. As long as you have a single bar of cell coverage, you know, you're good. And in cases where you don't have cell coverage, we could go off of Ethernet or off of Wi-Fi with one of our examples. But the typical like small landlord use case is, I got a 3-family rental, I need to control it, you know, put in a hub, put in smart locks, smart thermostats. Now I could control it, and now I could give tenants access to it as a potential amenity or an upgrade. So this is kind of like a visualization of like how the system works. So in a property, you would put like the cellular hub there, and this is like an example of it. You know, battery backed up. You could go sit in a mechanical room or a closet, and this has a back-end cellular connection to AT&T or Verizon networks. And locally, it connects via Z-Wave to the sensors and the devices in the property. So in this case, water sensor, thermostat, smart, you know, Yale smart lock. And this gives you kind of access via the alarm.com cloud to use your mobile phone, you know, iPads, you know, Apple Watch, computer to control, monitor, and protect your property. But there's also integrations for property management software systems. So if you use like a third-party property manager to like manage your properties, this can make their lives much easier, which in effect could allow you to beat them up on pricing to get better pricing. Because, hey, you don't have to go and rekey locks. You don't have to go do this. You get told when a property is having a problem versus walking the property. So those are kind of examples of, it makes everyone's life easier, but net, you should be able to negotiate lower rates because this is saving the property manager a ton of time. And if you're a self-managing landlord, it'll save you a ton of time. So access control, I mentioned, is one of like the big use cases, you know, smart locks. And this also applies to like building doors. If you have like a larger multifamily building that has a mag lock or a striker controlling like a building entrance, we have a solution that integrates with that too. So like one code would get the tenant into the building and get them into their unit, and you could control that all remotely and recode it, rekey it, and not have to give out physical keys. And that's really where the magic is. It's like when I have a tenant moving in, I literally delete the old tenant in the app. I add the new tenant and text them the code and like, this is your key. And I could give them app access if they request app access. So it kind of gives you a really cool way to make your tenant turns like super easy. You also, for like maintenance and repairs, you can also set codes and get alerts when those code is used. So I could say my electrician needs to go to the property to do some work. I could say, alert me when the electrician uses his code to enter. Highly useful for knowing, did that person actually go to the property or did he not show? So again, very, very helpful in managing this and enabling like cost and time savings. So one of the big things that we see from keyless entry, because this is like a one-way trip. This is like your car where now you don't, who has a key that they insert into their car and turn the ignition. It's all fobs wireless. Once a resident goes this way, it's very hard for them to go back to the whole key system. So they're savings it. So we're seeing landlords charge higher rents by having this in place. And we're also eliminating that locksmith cost on, during turns. And unattended showings. So I see there's a question there on like unattended showings. So with our system, you could validate, a prospective tenant would register like the account and validate it with a credit card. So it kind of gives you like a credit card there that you could kind of use if there's a problem. But, the nice thing is like with this, if you could streamline your showing process and have like a record and authenticate the person in case something bad happens. And then finally, work orders saves time during work orders instead of having to like pick. So a lot of property managers have to go pick up and drop off a key. They charge for that time. This now goes away because now they just show up to the property, get in, get out, not have to like drive back to the office to like put the key back in the lockbox or in the key closet. So high level, that's kind of what we do on the access control side for both units as well as building doors. Looks like there's a question on like water sensors. So I'll get to water next, actually. So water sensors, I agree, are typically very unreliable. A lot of false alerts. We actually have a much better solution. So we have water sensors, that are, battery life will last for like eight years. But the more important solution we have is a shutoff valve and flow meter. So this gets installed on like your water main for your unit or for like a riser for your building. And this is kind of in line. So now this could actually detect abnormal water conditions like a burst pipe, a running toilet, a small leak from your refrigerator line, and either trigger an alert to you or automatically shut off based on how you want it to, to function. So this is getting a lot of play because water, again, is one of the biggest problems for insurance companies, and it's certainly a very big problem for landlords. And most of like the home systems like Flow by Moen and water cop, they all require Wi-Fi, some kind of like Wi-Fi connection. So that it makes it very hard to use in a rental application, because back to that whole Wi-Fi issue I mentioned at the beginning. So this can be paired with water sensors, or it could be used standalone, but very popular in implementing this to allow you to protect your property and catch things like running toilets. So reducing water and sewer expenses, reducing insurance expenses, those are all like very proven by using solutions like this. And insurance companies like the cellular, because the cellular provides a much more reliable connection than Wi-Fi. So I'm sorry.
There was a question from Glenn that kind of follows up to this. Can you get better insurance rates based on these preventative measures?
Oh, absolutely. Like we have, so, I'm based in Boston here. A lot of the carriers here in the area, including like the Barnstable, Andover companies, Norfolk and Dedham, even like the big ones like Chubb and some of the major carriers, they all will give discounts if electronic water protection solutions are in place. So we have two programs with two insurance carriers where if this is in place, you get a 10% discount. And we're seeing some landlords that have a lot of multifamily properties get larger discounts because it greatly reduces the risk profile for that building. And again, rewind back to Texas. Rates in Texas have skyrocketed, resulting from last year. This is a way to like mitigate those rate increases. You're like, hey, I have some protection solutions in place to prevent that type of thing from happening and protecting the property. So insurance companies really love it. Any other questions? I'll pause here. Any other questions that people have?
Feel free to take yourself off mute and ask your question, or just type it into the chat box.
Hey, Charles, maybe I missed it. Subject to freezing temperatures, are these devices inside and basements? How do they do in the hard weather?
Yeah, so they're not intended to be like outdoors exposed to the elements. Temperature wise, they typically go down to 0 degrees Celsius. So they definitely could go down to like freezing temps. Obviously, if there's a freezing temp, there's a bigger problem at play, and hopefully it could alert you before that happens. And that's part of what this does. And in some climates, it could be like an outdoor box, like we have an install in Hawaii on a military base where it's in like an outdoor like weather type box. So it's okay, like heat, humidity, cold, but just not water. Not water for the electronics module that controls it. And that could go inside, and this valve could go outside.
Thank you.
Looks like there's a question on batteries. So it depends. It depends on, like, is there 4 tenants living there going in and out all the time, or is it like one person that goes in and out periodically? I'd say on average we see about a 9 to 12 month battery life on most deadbolts, so for like standard usage. But the nice thing about the system is it tells you when batteries are running low, because a lot of times the big problem with like Gen 1 smart locks is that they're not connected. So the way they reported low batteries was by beeping, but tenants ignored the beep until it no longer beeped, and then they were locked out. So this solves that problem, which made first gen smart locks like really a poor solution for landlords. Now this could say, if a battery gets, I could have an enterprise report across all my rentals to say, if battery falls below 30%, send me a report, and I could then send someone out to go change all the batteries. Or a lot of landlords will just give batteries to tenants on their lease and say, save these for the smart lock. We might need to and just pop them in, so save even a service call. So I'll get into the installation and stuff a little later, but let me keep going. Next use case is HVAC. So this is an important one, because HVAC, me as a landlord, that's probably been the majority of the calls I get. Hey, the heat's not working, the AC is not working. So what's nice about this system is you can set high and low temp alerts. So if the temperature ever falls below or above a certain level, you could get an alert and go, something's not right. Let me investigate. Before it gets to that emergency, it's 40 degrees inside, there's a winter storm, I need an emergency like heating person to come and take a look at my unit. You can also limit the ranges tenants could use the AC or the heat. So now I could say the lowest you could go is 60 degrees, the highest you could go is 78 degrees. So you can kind of now put limits to control the usage, and within obviously the legal limits of whatever the local area requires, but you can now prevent people from doing stupid things, from shutting off heat in the winter, from running the AC at 60 and freezing your fan coils. More importantly, through the PMS integrations, this knows that when a unit's vacant. So when your unit goes vacant, you move the tenant out, this could say, I'm vacant now, automatically go into away mode. So if you have like a rental portfolio, especially like a larger portfolio, these types of savings like add up, because now during that vacancy period, you're not running the heat high or the AC low, you're running it at whatever temperature you want, and it resets every day. So if that painter goes in and jacks up the heat to paint the walls, it can reset itself to the right schedule. And then maintenance and repairs, those emergency service calls, those always happen like after hours on a Friday. So imagine being able to know in advance that something's not right here. Let me go schedule someone to take a look when it's easy to do, versus blizzard. Like tomorrow we're getting a foot of snow in Boston. Horrible time to try to find a heating and cooling person to go to my house to like fix a failed boiler. And finally, like one interesting point about this is, the thermostats in our platform utilize analytics. So they don't just report out on heating, the set points. They could say, it's taking your system a long time to heat or a long time to cool down. Something's not right. Check engine light, like a check engine light on your car. So this actually allows you now to service things, way before there's even a problem. So if you think about like your resident experience, imagine a resident never having a heating or cooling issue because you know about it before they do and can proactively fix it before it's an expensive problem or displaces them and so forth. So that's what's kind of really like useful and powerful about this is the analytics, the temperature alerts, as well as the high-low ranges. Any questions there? All right, I'll keep going. Video surveillance. So the platform also encompasses video. So in a lot of these like smaller rental properties, video is a little harder because video, we do have options for video over cellular, but that's not really a good option. So if you have like a 12 family building, put in Comcast or Wi-Fi, you have a very robust video network and cameras that tie into the same platform. And I'll show a demo of this in one of the properties that we're in. So what are the areas this can impact like NOI? So first, save on water and sewer, because now you catch those running toilets and leaks. Avoid damage, so you prevent those repairs and maintenance. Reduce your property insurance. You save on HVAC expenses. Save on utilities during vacant units. Avoid rekeying expenses, and save on leasing agent expenses through unattended showings and self-guided tours. But the easier one is I could charge higher rent if my rental is smart enabled. Like that's, and I'll show a couple of examples of that. So in summary, it kind of gives you a higher property valuation and a lower, exit cap rate. So now you're generating like NOI. So this is an example. Some of you might have heard of Invitation Homes. They're one of the largest single family REITs out there. They actually leverage this same platform, and they actually charge this as a $25 fee to tenants to give them access to the app. Oh, you moved into this home, it's smart equipped. Do you want app access? It's $25 more to your rent. So they've literally turned it into a profit center that's a tenant can opt in for if they want to take advantage of like the smart home features. This is another like we work with a lot of syndicators. This is a syndicator that literally built our stuff into his OM to pitch a $72 rent increase. So he's like, we're gonna roll out smart tech into this Class A building, and we're gonna raise rents by $72. So that's literally built into his financial model for this. So I'll pause there. So privacy regulations. So I kind of see it. So every state is a little different, but it's kind of like the smart home technology, ship has sailed. And what's nice about the platform we utilize is there's a lot of built-in privacy in place. Like for example, you could say the only access to a unit is through a work order. So there's no codes on that lock except for the tenant's code and like a work order generated code. There's a record now of all the accesses. So I could say if the tenant says, hey, I think someone's in my unit, you could really pull up a log and show them that, hey, these are the only accesses to the unit. So some people might see that as very big brotherish. Other people might say, hey, if I was sitting outside on the curb with my car, I could see all the same stuff. So it's not different from me just sitting out there. I guess now just do that virtually. And obviously for like video cameras and whatnot, you don't put video cameras inside a unit. That's a big no-no. But this is more of, this is safer for you. This allows me to service you better. This allows me to protect the property and protect your living situation from getting displaced from a catastrophic leak. So that's kind of how we position it. But we've rarely seen people push back on this and say, no, I don't want this in my house. Not that there's not those people out there, but this is more of, oh, this is really cool. This makes my life easier, more convenient and safer, because now I know if a door is unlocked, it could alert me. I could open the door for the dog walker. Those are types of things that are better than leaving a key under a doormat. It's now safer and more traceable. So let me flip to kind of like a software demonstration. So this is actually one of the systems we have deployed in a 40 unit building. So this owner has 40 units. They have video and access control, and from this screen I can see every single lock in the unit here. And if I needed to like let someone into a property, I could literally like click on this property. I could go unlock door. I'm not going to do that because that would literally unlock someone's door, but not everyone could have this level of access, but I'm just doing it as a demonstration purposes. I could go into the access control system. Someone's trying to get into the building. I can say, you're trying to get into the building. Let me buzz you into 79 B here. Buzz, open door. Boom, that mag lock releases for 5 seconds, let someone in, relocks. Video cameras. This has 32 video cameras in this property. Pull up live feeds, or I could literally go and view feeds from like a week or a month or several months ago from my computer, not going into the building and booting up a PC from 10 years ago and viewing like feed on an SVR. So I could literally say what was going on February 1st in these cameras. Hit play. So February 1st, these are the views of those cameras on February 1st. And then finally, like vacant units. This is where, this is where a lot of the mechanical rooms get placed. So vacant units, I have, all the mechanical room doors, but in some of these buildings, I have the water valves. So I could literally see the water consumption of the building. And if there were a problem here, I could literally close the water valve. So that's like a quick demonstration of like the higher level enterprise level, dashboard. And then at the tenant side, this is actually my home app here for like my house. I have thermostats, I have water valves, I have locks, I have light switches, so I can turn off my lights here. You'll see my lights go off here in the background. You might saw that flash. It lets you then easily flip between properties. So I could go over to my rental in Chicago and say, well, what's the, the garage is closed, the lock is unlocked, the water sensor is dry. Oh, I need to change a code here. Let me just add a new user, test user, create a code, create, save. So literally in 3 minutes, that code will work on the front door of this property. Like that's how easy it is to like change a code for someone. I'm going to delete this because this is, don't want an extra code in there for my tenants, but that kind of gives you like a high level summary of how the software works. Looks like there's a couple of questions, series of API integrations. So cost per month. So the cost per month, it depends. I'd say it ranges from about $8 to $12 a month for the average system. For per door, if you go dedicated hub per system, it's about $350 to $450 per unit per month for a shared hub system. So if you have a 3-family, put a single hub in there, control the locks, in the building. So software $350 to $450 for a shared situation, 8 to 12 for a dedicated hub situation. And the dedicated hubs are the ones that integrate with the PMS systems: Yardi, RealPage, Appfolio, ResMan, Rent Manager, Entrata, all the majors, we integrate with. Do you have reports or stats on how often the system is not working? So you could get alerts, like real-time alerts when something's offline or batteries are low or fail. So that's all programmable. You could get text messages, emails, or push notifications. There's also reports that go out on a monthly basis of, hey, here's a summary of your system every month. This sensor is down, because again, these are wireless, the batteries run out at times, but it gives you a good tool for making sure that things are like online and that they're working. I focus on batteries, water, and HVAC. Those are the most important ones for me as I kind of track my properties. The malfunction shop, we actually changed thermostats there, and we just didn't remove from the system in that one. So that's why the Chicago property has a malfunction. And yes, there is a phone app. It's like the alarm.com Point Central app, very easy and intuitive to control. And we're approaching the end here. So couple of pitfalls, just types of things to be aware of. One is just point solutions. A lot of people have a solution for just locks or just water or just HVAC. You're going to want to, we recommend to really think about this in terms of a platform. Every property is going to be a little different. You want something that could scale and do different things and evolve over time. That's really where I think our platform excels. Actually, HVAC, lighting, video, water, access control, even audio like Sonos and other fancy things like that. PMS integrations, if you're trying to build a portfolio to scale, the property management integrations are really, really important because that will save you time. Like that tenant moves in, automatically gets his code, automatically gets app access, move out, everything's automatically deleted. It makes it much easier to manage this at scale. Wi-Fi networks, if you have a big multifamily you're developing, you likely are putting in like managed Wi-Fi. But for smaller buildings, Wi-Fi is harder and harder to do. Complex, you want an easy system that's battle tested. This platform is deployed in over 8 million housing units across 40 countries. So it's a very robust platform backed by a publicly traded company, so alarm.com. So it's not like I built this in my garage. If I go away, you have bricked hardware. This is stable platform, built in place for over 20 years. You've been through the ringer with like large multifamily REITs that have done tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of deployments. And this is where we focus. As a vendor, we focus on landlord and multifamily use cases because I've been a landlord for 15 plus years. So those are things to kind of think about as you kind of choose your vendors and your solutions. You want a platform, you want something that's scalable, and you want to cover like multiple use cases. We talked about some of the software integrations that we have. Let me answer some of the questions. System security. So this is cellular, and cellular is inherently a lot more secure than Wi-Fi. You hear about Ring doorbells getting hacked and all the Nest getting hacked. Cellular gives you a much more inherently reliable and hacker. Not that it's impossible to hack the cell network, but it's a lot harder than hacking a Wi-Fi network. And the local connection is Z-Wave. And the way Z-Wave works is once it pairs to like a hub, it only accepts commands from the hub. So I can't connect directly to a lock and say like unlock the door. I have to go through the hub, and to get to the hub, I have to go through the cellular network. Cost per door. So the basic system, like a hub, and if you see my like video screen, you know, a smart lock, a smart thermostat's about $425, you know, for like a basic system. You can go up to, like, if you put in light switches and fancy stuff, you get over 1,000, but the basic hub lock thermostat covers the bulk of the use cases. You know, that's about $425. And if you're doing a new construction application, that cost is far less, because you're paying about $200 for the lock and thermostat anyway. So now the delta cost for smart is about $200. And if you get $25 rent increase, that pays back in like 16 months. It pays back pretty quickly. Install varies, you know, for like smaller landlords, you know, we really enable self-installs. We don't offer install services for small landlords, but if you have like a 100-unit building, your install costs roughly for a hub lock thermostat about $150. So we have a national partner that can install a hub lock thermostat for about $150 for like bigger deployments.
I have a question about how do you communicate with the people that are living within these buildings? If you change the door lock, or you need to shut off a water valve, or you need to alert a landlord that something's going on in the building, what's the communication system?
Well, they likely will have app access too, so they could get alerts on their app. But I think it's a standard, like, how do you communicate with tenants normally? Text message, call, email, you know, it's kind of all the same ones. You don't message them through the app. It's more of the app could trigger alerts to whoever you want, to them, to you, to your property manager, to your maintenance person. It's programmable for how it kind of communicates out to people during these things.
Oh, that's really cool. So you can actually set up a series of alerts, like if a water main is shut off, contact these three people.
Yeah, if there's a water leak, I could say, send a text message to my wife, send an email to my property manager, send a push notification to me. So it's all programmable for temperature, for water, for access. I could say, if my daughter unlocks my front door, send me a push notification. She's 7 years old. She uses the keyless entry to get into our house. Like, awesome. Yeah, I know when she's home. So a couple of case studies. You know, this is where, you know, we have a mix of like new construction applications as well as like retrofit applications. But this is one in Cambridge, Mass. So if you guys are ever in Cambridge, we'd love to take you by this property. You know, this is the system I was just showing you, actually. You know, 32 cameras, 52 door locks, flow meters on the water, butterfly intercoms. We integrate with Butterfly, by the way. So if you have a Butterfly on your building, it ties in. So one app controls the Butterfly and all the rest of the stuff. And this one ties into Yardi. You know, this is 111 units. You know, that's new construction going up right now. Again, smart locks, video, thermostats, water sensors, and access control doors. This is using a different intercom vendor that we work with here locally. You know, this is a 415 unit new development. Again, you know, going to roll out all the tech. You know, this is one that focused on the water protection. We have a water valve in every single unit in this property, because they want to know if there's a water issue, which exact unit has that water issue. This is another ground up development, 3 buildings. This is like they took an old school and turned it into apartments. So again, full technology package, tons of video cameras, because they want to be able to monitor like what's going on across the whole site. And then another, like an old mill that was converted into market rate apartments. So again, smart locks, thermostats, door control, video surveillance. So, and this is a retrofit, 20 units. They'll say, hey, I want to make this building smart. So we're able to replace the video cameras, replace the door locks, replace the building door control system, leverage all the existing strikers and readers. So very easy. So retrofits as well as new construction, it applies for both. So that.
Go ahead.
That's it. I'm sorry. That's really it. So
I was going to say, Misi in the chat actually has an interesting point here. She says that she may try this on her own house, you know, in the next year or so. Do you have people that tend to do that? They'll install it on like a personal residence and test run it there and then bring it out. And what's the price structure for doing something like that?
Absolutely. It's you know, it's a lot of people. We always encourage people to do a pilot first. You know, like if you're gonna roll this out, put it on like a couple of your doors and try it out. Like the price is 125 for the, here I'll go off of video of screen shares, but like 125 for the cellular hub. You know, you could get a quick set deadbolt, smart deadbolt, 150. You get a Yale deadbolt for 200. The smart thermostats in the system are 150. You know, water sensors are $50. And for like most home applications, think about $12 a month is the typical like monthly for the, you know, for the home application. And that includes the software, the cellular data, that's all rolled into that monthly fee. Obviously, if you're rolling this out to like thousands of units, that price comes down. Or if you're just using very specific use cases, the price comes down. But basically, $425 for a cell hub lock thermostat, $12 a month for the monthly. Do this at scale, that comes down in sub $10, you know, in volume.
And if you were doing installation on like 100-unit building, what would that tend to run?
So if I was just doing like the hub lock thermostat, it's about 150 a unit, assuming the door is prepped. So we have a national partner that could install in all 50 states. So if you said, hey, I have a 100-unit building in Idaho, I want to roll this out into, we could do that. But like for like trade work there, like for the plumbing stuff, you know, that all we do have a national like plumbing and electrical contractor like network, but the pricing varies for that. So, you know, we're typically seeing for like installing like the water valve that I showed you, it could range from $500 to like $700. If you're in a low cost market, maybe you get, you know, $300, $400. It all depends on the price of the plumber.
All right.
So
any other questions?
Yes, I have one about what are the top 3 risks you would say are associated with this type of products? Because what I see is also before it's just a water tank. Now we're having something else adding on to the water tank, or monitoring the water tank or the system. That's another step in the process, a more point of failure as well, more dependencies. I understand the purpose is to track it, but just from your perspective, what are the potential top 3 risks with this type of products in terms of longevity and endurance and things like that? Thank you.
Yeah, good question. I'd say, you know, one risk is kind of getting familiar with the technology and making sure that you have all the alerts like set up properly so that you're getting, and we help with this in the, you know, kind of the onboarding process. You know, it's like, and also like, and I like to distinguish also from like the more consumer facing stuff from the more enterprise stuff. You know, like the platform we utilize, I'd say, is not as consumer facing, using all the latest newfangled cameras. Is using stuff that's more tried and true, that's been deployed to like hundreds of thousands of units. So I'd say one of the technology risks is avoided because the platform we utilize is a little more of a not closed, but it's more of like a wall guard where selective things are brought in and tested and made sure that they work, versus a Samsung SmartThings hub that will connect to any Z-Wave device. But then if that driver goes out of whack, then you're offline. You know, so it's kind of a much more curated approach than a do-it-yourself like smart home system. The second one is there's always technology risk of like someone like taking a sensor, or, you know, disappearing a sensor, or not liking the smart lock, or the privacy risk that was raised earlier. You know, so some tenants might not like that, but it's like, hey, if I'm sitting outside, you know, on the street, I could see when you're going in and out of a property. So a lot of that stuff could be mitigated. So I'd say that the third risk is, you know, kind of I'd say the initial installation. You know, it's, you know, if you're starting to roll this out, you know, because I don't know if you're local to your rental properties or if they're across the country or whatnot. It's kind of getting the initial install set up and kind of understanding how it works. We try to make it easy, but again, our focus is a little more on like the larger multifamily buildings from the turnkey installation services. But you know, we offer a lot of self-install options and could help people remotely kind of get things set up. Literally, it's to pair a sensor. I push a button on the hub, I push a button on a sensor, they pair, and they show up in the app. So it's kind of like idiot proof at this point. But you know, there's always people that are not tech people, and that's kind of why we help bridge them towards, you don't have to be a rocket scientist or an electrical engineer to set up these systems. It's Alarm.com's made it really easy, and that's kind of why we chose this platform as our technology supplier.
That makes sense. And MN, I don't know his full name, but has posed an interesting question that I struggle with, even though I don't have that many technology in the house. So when things fail, how do like you guys are your technology staff or technical staff are probably the best point of contact for fixing this type of stuff, right? And are their rates really high, or is this something that we can train the handyman in the apartments, or other people can debug? Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. There's kind of two levels of problems. One is, hey, there's a little battery, so that's send a handyman or send a worker there to like swap the batteries, or tell a tenant to do it. So some of the problems will be boots on the ground and need to go to a property to like do something. For the tech stuff, we typically do like an onboarding to kind of train. Hey, here's how you do the basic functions, and you self manage it. But if you need help, you contact us and we can help. And we also offer what we call this. Again, this is more of a managed service for like big buildings, but we call it smart building as a service. So a lot of property managers are not techies. So we say, hey, we'll handle a lot of the stuff for you. It's a little extra a month per unit, but we'll handle it and communicate to you when something's wrong. So we do have like a service that we're rolling out that we're implementing with some of our bigger customers to kind of manage the technology for them, because we know how to do it the best. And have staff that could do it. So that's an option for that use case you just talked about. Like,
Okay.
if
Got
it's
it. Yeah. And just at one point, because I think with things like this, or even like Amazon Blink services or Ring or whatever, the real profit for the company is the subscription, and maybe maintenance as well. Just like when people sell cars, they don't really, so, and that when it's a potential profit, it's also a potential cost for the consumer. So maybe when I do get to that step, I would love to learn more about how the maintenance costs would typically be like. Somebody
sure.
also, yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody
sure.
also, go ahead. Yeah.
I see the warranty. Yeah. The devices all have
Mhm.
like Yale lock, standard warranty on a Yale lock or a quick set lock. For all the hardware from alarm.com, standard like 1 year to 2 year manufacturer's warranty, depending upon the product. So yeah, they are devices. They do break. They do wear out. They do get water on them and get damaged. But in general, I think the technology has evolved to be a pretty high level of reliability versus stuff like a couple of years ago. And that's kind of what's nice. And that's why, because at scale, this needs to be really solid. If you have 1,000 apartments that have this technology in it, you need it to work. You can't have like calls. And so that's why we focus, I think, more on the use cases that are, HVAC, water, access, not the fancy video stuff. That's not the Blink cameras, the Ring cameras, that's not a focus of ours. I'd say the high value use cases are, is there a water leak? Can I control the door? Can I control the HVAC system and get alerted? Those are the ones I think that are the money makers for a landlord.
Got it. Thank you.
Quick question regarding all your devices, right? So basically, can you integrate any type of commercial off-the-shelf equipment or device? I can go just get any type of device in the out there in the market and you can integrate it, or do you also have your own originally branded stuff that you recommend to people?
Yeah, the answer to the first question is no. It's a more of a curated platform, and I'll put a link here in the chat of like the it kind of shows the hardware that's been certified for alarm.com. I'll put it in the chat here. Again, it's more of a curated thing than I can't pick any device I want. Because for that precise reason. Some stuff's just not ready for prime time. Some stuff hasn't been tested. It's not the drivers aren't supported well. So we kind of say, for the enterprise grade version of this, Quickset and Yale lock, Quickset, the new Quickset 620 and the Yale Z-Wave locks, those are the ones that are certified for the platform that can do all the things that we needed to do to do this at scale. There's a group of thermostats, and there are some devices that are developed by alarm.com, like some of the thermostats and water products. Those are purpose built, and it kind of gives you the advantage Apple has by doing the hardware and software integrated together. You can take advantage now of the analytics that just buying a Honeywell or a Nest thermostat, those don't have that integrated with like with like the software. So there's some purpose-built stuff, and then there's some industry standard stuff. And I think Alarm got the right mix. Things like locks, you don't want to buy a proprietary lock. That's just a recipe for disaster. But some of the very specific things for like asset protection, that's where proprietary is good, because it's been integrated with the software to develop like insights. and not just open and close a valve. It's like, I know there's a running toilet in your property.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Well, I'll also put my email address in the chat. So if any of this is like interesting for you, please check out our website, email me. But, again, I started off as a small landlord, and this has made my life a lot. I'm eating my own dog food. I use this in my properties, but we've seen that big owners, big buildings are getting some serious NOI advantages on this. So if you're doing like 100 unit plus development or retrofit or whatnot, really consider this, because there's also some like pretty interesting like kind of some financing options and other things that could happen to make it really easy to deploy. And again, if you have any questions, I'm always happy to kind of give you guys advice or guidance or point you in the right direction, even if you don't want to use our stuff. I'm a tech guy at heart, and I believe in this stuff because I'm kind of at that intersection of real estate and prop tech. That's what I am.
All right, Charles, thank you so much for presenting to our group here. And everybody here, if we're going to put this presentation inside the Facebook group with Charles's permission, if he gives it.
Sure, of course.
Okay. And so we hope to see you guys there, and we'll be back at 3 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday next week.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody, for the time. Hopefully it was interesting and informative.
Yes, it was.
Thanks,
Thank you
Charles.
very much, Charles.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All
take
right.
yourself off mute and say thank you to Charles.
Thanks, Charles.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Charles.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Daniel, did you want to stay on chat or?
I actually, do you want to chat, Missy?
Just in case you want to, if there's any thoughts or.
I have another meeting starting in 15 minutes, and Matt wanted to go over his presentation between now and then.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We can catch up tomorrow if you like.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sounds good. Talk to you later.
Cheers.
Okay.
Good to see you, Keisha.
Yeah, it was good to see you, Daniel. Missy. Bye.